comment tonight and they haven't signed in yet, would you please sign in on the sign-in sheet? Mario, you're good? Thanks. Agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for residents to comment briefly on matters included on the agenda and otherwise of interest to the Board of Trustees. Thanks. Public comment is limited to 30 minutes in total and up to 5 minutes per speaker. When you step to the podium, if you haven't already done it, please sign in. Well, that's too late because I already have the sheet. But we'll call anybody who signed up on the sheet. We'll call you by name, and we'll give the latecomers one more shot. So, are there any other? Well, let me start then. Public comments. Bob Gruber. I got a Bob Gruber. Bob.
Thank you for giving us a chance to come here and talk. I didn't think I'd be talking to this many people. I'm here in support of on your agenda, the noise ordinance for against ATVs and motorcycles being driven on properties within Lake Zurich town. We've had an issue with some people doing that. Where I live, right across the street from me, it can tend to be up to three guys riding either an ATV, a motorcycle, a mini bike all at the same time around their yard nonstop. We've asked them a couple of times to, could they stop? And we're greeted with expletives and it's my property, I could do what I want. So I know Scott Garrison, he couldn't be here tonight. We also have a few other neighbors that are here in support of this back here, I believe. So we just wanted to kind of express our support for that bill or that ordinance, and hope that gets pushed through.
Okay, thank you. Next is Larry Shadle. Larry, you still want to talk? Guess so.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, please, thank you. I just wanted to make a few comments regarding, I know it's not going to be discussed in depth, and it appears that it's going to be delayed to the January meeting, but I want to make some comments about the proposed annexation, rezoning, and redevelopment of the Midlothian Manor property. And I just want to let the public know that 8 out of 10 of the surrounding property owners oppose the project and have put their protests in writing and have formally submitted protest petitions. At least 29 people have formally notified the Village of Lake Zurich that they believe the proposed rezoning from R1 single family to multifamily 6 would violate their rights, cause them irreparable harm, and result in financial harm to them. During the zoning hearings, Lake Zurich Zoning Committee refused to allow the testimony of protesting property owners and witnesses. The proposed project violates Lake Zurich's own development standards, rules, and regulations by allowing a 24-unit apartment building on the lots that are sized the existing lots. During the rezoning hearings, Lake Zurich Zoning Committee also refused property owners to make exhibits and present exhibits in video and for public disclosure, and have failed to make those available and incorporate those into the packets of information made available to the public. After continuing public comment in the July meeting to the August 16th meeting, the Planning and Zoning Committee then refused to allow public comment and allowed HDOC to provide significant new information and speak for roughly 30 minutes prior to closing the meeting and voting. The Village of Lake Zurich has declined to provide public information requested by approximately 25 different residents submitted through Freedom of Information Act requests. We have submitted evidence of several hundred police calls and over 40 actual police reports arising at 2 other HDOC locations over an approximate 1-year period of time, evidencing instances of assault, battery, fights, disorderly conduct, drug-related activity, gunshots, a man with a gun, harassment, theft, and other crimes. A copy of these have been submitted to each village trustee. Approximately 30 people have told the village that they believe they were not following the rules and regulations for zoning and that they fully intend to file legal action against the village. Lake Zurich is aware that the residents have litigated a similar use of this same property approximately 8 years ago, and that it went all the way to the Illinois Appellate Court. There is no reason to believe that Lake Zurich residents will not again do so. Lake Zurich's own chairman has already indicated that Lake Zurich has 20 to 30% more low-income housing than is required by the state. If Lake Zurich builds out the remaining land that they have available, they will still have met the requirement. Lake Zurich's own zoning committee members pointed out that a deep discount to the developer would be giving for property taxes, which is believed to be a 70 to 80% discount. Why should this developer get such a discount on his taxes while other residents do not get a discount? Why is Lake Zurich bending over backwards for this developer to put this through and ignoring its own residents? The property is not even within Lake Zurich's boundaries. Why does Lake Zurich want to reach outside of its boundaries to bring these types of problems to Lake Zurich and face legal action? Lake Zurich, by its own rules, was to make a decision and a recommendation within 60 days of the zoning committee's recommendation. Why is Lake Zurich delaying this? HDOC is an organization, is not an individual. If I asked for a delay, would Lake Zurich give it to me if I couldn't make a meeting? Why does Lake Zurich keep bending over backwards for this developer? What is in this project for Lake Zurich? Is it worth the trouble that Lake Zurich will go through if they pass this? Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Kozum.
Hi, Mary Koza from the Ancient Oaks Foundation. I just wanted to stop by and introduce our new program that we're kicking off called Buckthorn Bounty. You can go to our website and find it, otherwise I have flyers too. But basically what it is we have a fund set aside and we will be paying homeowners up to $150 each to remove buckthorn from their properties. So 150 is not going to get all your buckthorn, but it certainly will pay the guys to haul it away for you. We will also come and mark the buckthorn for you on your property. I know sometimes it can get confusing, sometimes they look alike, sometimes they're trees or bushes. So there's 5 of us that will go out to your properties with your permission, of course, spray them for you, and then you know which ones to cut too, because it'll probably be winter, and that's actually the best time to do it. There is a video on our website too, so you can preview what.
Mayor, speak into the mic this way.
I'm sorry, there's just all this stuff. So that you can find out what you're getting yourself into. Like how big of a job is it going to be? What do I need to do? All of that. So I'm trying to think. So I've talked to Michael and Kyle already too. And we're hoping to work with the village as making sure everybody knows about it. So certainly if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or anyone else from Ancient Oaks. And I do have free trees in the back under my coat, if anybody wants some, somewhere back there. Some catalpa trees. We planted 30 oak trees in Cushman Cove, Cushman Arboretum, and Oak Ridge Marsh this last weekend. So they were all grown by a volunteer, so there was no cost for the actual trees, and volunteer labor planted them all. So thanks, everybody, for listening.
Okay, thanks, Mary. And here's the flyer that Mary has in case she's got it. Mary? Okay, next is Mike Hilt.
Good evening, Mayor Poynton, trustees, and village staff. My name is Michael Hilt, and I'm a resident of Lake Zurich. However, tonight I'm speaking to you as a member of the Tough Tight management team. Tough Tight is a plastic injection molding company that produces products for the septic and drainage industries. We have been manufacturing our products in Lake Zurich for over 20 years. During these 20 years, we have seen our operations in Lake Zurich grow into 220,000 square feet of building space and employ over 170 people. Tonight we are here to ask you to remove item 6G from the consent agenda. Item 6G contains revisions to the municipal and zoning codes related to public and private driveways, public and private streets, and public and private right-of-ways. We object to these code amendments and ask that the board consider these 3 questions. 1, what interest is the government of Lake Zurich protecting or gaining with the passage of these text amendments? How many people or businesses will this impact? And 3rd, will these text amendments violate any existing intergovernmental agreements? As you are aware, there is active litigation between the Village of Lake Zurich and Tough Tight. It is quite apparent that these code amendments are in direct response to this litigation. If you vote to approve these text amendment changes tonight, you're going to adversely affect one major employer in Lake Zurich. These amendments are designed for no other purpose than to discourage further business development and expansion of Tough Tight and its subsidiary companies here in Lake Zurich. I assure you that these changes will lead to forcing a $100 million company to leave Lake Zurich for a community that values good manufacturing jobs in a safe and clean work environment. We respectfully ask that you delay your vote on these text amendment changes until the village and Tough Tight have had a chance to come together to meet and work out a solution that works for the village of Lake Zurich and Tough Tight. Thank you for your consideration and support this evening.
Thank you, sir. Are you representing Ted and Kelly? Mike? Are they here?
Ted's right here,
Okay, Ted, you're next. Where is Ted?
right here.
Oh, there he is. I'm sorry.
Okay. To expound a little bit on what Mike said, we've been in the village for 23 years. We have about 290,000 square feet under roof. We've been good neighbors. We put a $25 million a year payroll into Lake Zurich. We're the single biggest electric user in Lake Zurich. Therefore, we're the single biggest electrical tax contributor since Tredegar left. And I think the electrical tax was part of the reason Tredegar left. And if the village is, for some reason, trying to drive Tough Tight out of here, this is one more step to do it. In the last month, I've been to Wisconsin twice, Ohio once, Pennsylvania once, and am talking to DECO in Illinois. So if Lake Zurich doesn't want us here anymore, just tell us, and we'll leave. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Kelly Sheehan?
I'm just gonna defer my time till later. I think they've said everything. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other public comments tonight? Okay, seeing nobody else, then we'll close public comments. And we will move on to the president's report, and I'm going to do that from over here. Okay, so, President's Report. First item on the President's Report is a couple of mayoral proclamations. The first one is declaring October 23rd to the 31st, 2023 as Red Ribbon Week, which is intended to raise awareness of the dangers of drug use while encouraging all residents to take an active role in their community drug prevention activities. The next item is a discussion somewhat on volunteering. Volunteers form an invisible workforce that often goes unnoticed and underappreciated, despite dedicating countless hours to helping others. Volunteers' selflessness and commitment to making a positive impact in the community deserves recognition, yet they rarely receive the acknowledgement they rightfully deserve. They give their time and effort wholeheartedly, driven by a sense of compassion and a genuine desire to make a difference and to give back. It is truly the commendable act of giving back to community. We value the efforts of these selfless individuals who dedicate their time and energy for the betterment of others. Many are unsung heroes who dedicate countless hours to helping others. They rely solely on their intrinsic motivation and the satisfaction of making a difference in the lives of those they serve and the things they do. In our society, recognition and appreciation are often tied to financial compensation or material rewards. Unfortunately, volunteers don't benefit from those tangible forms of recognition. Despite their invaluable contributions, volunteers seldom receive the acknowledgement they deserve. While they don't expect anything in return, volunteers do deserve an occasional thank you at the very least. They also deserve our utmost respect and admiration. Without community volunteers, Lake Zurich wouldn't hum along nearly as smoothly as it does. We would miss their contributions in many ways. Our village is loaded with volunteer organizations and volunteers in general. You can find them easily in our many church ministries, schools, service organizations, and in other organizations like the Ancient Oaks Foundation. One of the things that makes this place a great place to live and to raise a family. Our volunteer non-paid boards and committees are an essential part of village government. Our special events wouldn't happen without a dedicated group of volunteers. We do our best to thank them and to recognize their efforts on behalf of the community. But there's one special group of volunteers who I call unsung because nobody knows who they are or what they have done. Those individuals selflessly dedicate their time and skills to support an assortment of causes and are easily taken for granted. They are some of the unsung heroes who work tirelessly behind the scenes, silently contributing to the betterment of our community. For example, does anyone know the ladies who give out Emmaus House diapers once a month at the ELA Center? Or the gentleman who many days walks the Route 22 bypass picking up litter? Or how about the lady who does a similar chore along Old Mill Grove Road? Or the two young kids, 7 and 8, who cleaned up one of the detention ponds in Concord Village? Or how about Doug Bartels? Doug, come on up here. So tonight I appreciate the opportunity to give some thanks back to an unsung individual who epitomizes the term unsung and who has spent countless hours volunteering in this community, toiling in relative anonymity, never once asking for himself, asking for a thing for himself, Mr. Doug Bartels. I have a proclamation which recognizes Doug's unsung community contributions. And then Mario Santascopi from the Lions Club would like to add some comments as well. So, Doug, it's for you, and I'm going to read it. I'm not going to read all the whereases, though, okay? You okay with that?
I'm perfectly fine with
Okay.
that, yes, sir.
So this is a proclamation honoring Lake Zurich resident Doug Bartels on life accomplishments. Whereas Doug Bartels has been a Lake Zurich Main Street resident for 45 years, witnessing all the changes over the years that come with a growing desirable community, and he has always shown the enthusiasm and willingness to roll up his sleeves and get dirty. If it's for a good cause, that will make the world around him a better place. Doug spent 8 years in the National Guard as a detachment commander, supervising his battalion and establishing a working climate that promotes mutual respect and confidence. Doug has spent 30 years as a Lake Zurich Lions Club member, volunteering countless hours on Alpine Fest and other community events. Doug has also been a member of the Lake Zurich American Legion for 19 years, always being a familiar face and a reliable supporter of his fellow veterans. For 12 years, Doug was part of the crew that constructed the original Lake Zurich haunted house at the Paulus Park Barn, where he spent countless hours on nights and weekends creating scares and spooks for the children. And whereas Doug achieved the Lake Zurich Chamber of Commerce Outstanding Charitable Volunteer for the Year Award in 1995, and Doug's selfless values and community-minded personality make him a role model for not only his 2 daughters and 6 grandchildren, but for all who call Lake Zurich home. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Tom Poynton, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the residents of Lake Zurich, do hereby recognize the contribution that Doug Bartels has made to the village of Lake Zurich and the 20,000 residents that call this home. I extend my personal thanks to Doug and for the positive impact his efforts will leave on the community long after we are all gone. Thank you, Doug. Mario here? Mario? Oh, here he comes. Mario is the president of the Lake Zurich Lions Club, and the Lions have requested a moment here, so we're giving it to him.
Thank you. Greetings. I'm Mario Sanaskoy, the president of the Lake Zurich Lions Club. It's an honor to share my thoughts on Lion Doug Bartels. Doug has been a dedicated member of the Lake Zurich Lions Club for an impressive 39 years. He held a number of board positions throughout his Lions service, including serving as the club president in 1993. Doug's commitment and contributions to the Lions Club and to our community have been nothing short of outstanding. Doug received two of the most prestigious accolades in the Lions community, the Melvin Jones Fellowship Award from the Lions Club International Foundation and the Foundation Fellows Award from the Lions of Illinois Foundation. These awards recognize individuals who go above and beyond the call of service to their communities, and Doug certainly fits the bill. He has consistently been a reliable force whenever our community projects required assistance, including demonstrating remarkable resourcefulness when challenges arose. Whether it's setting up for Alpine Fest or overseeing the removal of piers at the Lions Marina, Doug has always been there to lend a hand. Lion Doug embodies the essence of what we as Lions aspire to be, a pillar in our community who consistently gives selflessly. Doug, we extend our deepest gratitude for your unwavering dedication and countless contributions. Thank you for all you do and for being part of the Lake Zurich Lions Club.
Thanks, Mario. And Doug would like to say a few words.
I would just like to say that my parents, in bringing up myself, my brother, and my sister, always instilled into us the feeling that whenever possible, leave it better than you found it. And I feel honestly that in 50 years, whatever, of building some houses, doing remodeling work, maintenance work around our village of Lake Zurich, that I think and I hope in some small way possibly I may have left it a little bit better than I found it. Thank you so much for all.
So in closing, it is crucial for society to recognize and value the immense contribution that volunteers make as they play an integral part in creating a better world for all of us. Whether it's through assisting at a local soup kitchen, tutoring disadvantaged children, or participating in environmental cleanup projects, volunteers play a vital role in addressing societal issues and improving the well-being of others. Doug, again, thank you for your contributions to our community. I'm going to turn over the rest of my time to Fire Chief Dave Pilgard.
Thank you, Mayor Poynton. Could I please have firefighter paramedic Connor DeBoer come up? Could I have police and fire commissioner Mike Hilt make your way up, please? Understood. Connor, let's have you turn just a little bit here. Take a step back. Commissioner Hilt's going to stand next to you there in a moment. Firefighter paramedic Connor DeBoer is the latest addition to the fire department. He started his service with the Village of Lake Zurich on the fire department on September 25th last month. He came to us from the Wakanda Fire District, where he had been working part-time paid on call with them. And he was also working at the Condell Medical Center ER for 3 years as an ER technician. Connor's been a firefighter for 2 years, and he recently completed his paramedic training and obtained his paramedic license in August. Connor lives in Wakanda with his parents and his brother, and he likes the outdoors, and he is into leather crafting as a hobby. And now, Commissioner Hilt, I'll hand over the paperwork to get Connor sworn in with us this evening.
Thank you, Chief Pilgard. Connor, if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Connor DeBoer,
I, Connor DeBoer,
having been duly appointed to the position of firefighter paramedic
having been duly appointed to the position of firefighter paramedic
in the Village of Lake Zurich,
in the Village of Lake Zurich,
in the County of Lake,
the County of Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of a firefighter paramedic
the duties of a firefighter paramedic
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Connor, welcome to Lake Zurich, buddy.
Could I please have Bonnie DeBoer come up? There you are. We met earlier. It's my pleasure to hand over his badge to him and for you to pin it on him this evening. Very good. Thank you, Bonnie. Congratulations, Connor. Connor, just stage off to the side for a moment. John, why don't you come on up, please? With the recent retirement of Bob Kleinheitz from the Fire Prevention Bureau, we sought out to find a replacement for him. And this evening, it's my pleasure to present to the board, Mayor Poynton, the community, and the department heads, Deputy Fire Marshal John Wissick. John started with us on September 11th last month, and he came to us from the Long Grove Fire Protection District, where he was a fire inspector. Prior to that, he worked 22 years with the Huntley Fire Protection District as a firefighter paramedic. John currently lives in Huntley with his wife, Lynn. John has 2 children, Nick and Katrina, who he visits from time to time. They reside out of state, and he enjoys visiting them to spend time with them hiking and camping. He has 2 dogs, Trower and Leo. He played semi-pro baseball after high school, and he enjoys traveling to Florida, where he enjoys to get away down there to fish from time to time. So it's my pleasure to welcome on board to the Lake Zurich community and the other communities that the Lake Zurich Fire Department serves, Deputy Fire Marshal John Wissick this evening. We're going to take a quick photo. Could I please have the members of the fire service that are here this evening up here to take a photo? And Michael, not sure where you are, but always thanks for taking the photos.
Okay, that's almost the end of the president's report. I have one comment to make, and that is that regardless of what you may have heard during the public comment, there's more to those stories than meets the eye. And I would suggest on at least one of them that you take the time to review the PZC meeting for significant different stories. So other than that, that's the end of the public comment, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. The titles on the consent agenda will be read by the village clerk and approved by a single roll call vote. Any item may be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote by any member of the board. Deputy Clerk Cordell, please read the titles.
Approval of the minutes of the board meeting from September 18th, 2023. The ratification of semi-monthly warrant register dated October 2nd, 2023, totaling $1,598,805.75. Approval of semi-monthly warrant register dated October 16th, 2023, totaling $491,119.76. Agreement with Pipeview America for the 2023 Sanitary and Storm Sewer Inspection Program in the amount not to exceed $100,000. Reduction in the letter of credit to $88,533.50 for LZ Development Group, LLC, for the Sanctuary of Lake Zurich Development. Ordinance amending Chapter 2 of Title 4 of the Lake Zurich Municipal Code regarding all-terrain vehicle and off-road motorcycle noise. Ordinance amending various Chapters 9, 10, and 4 of the Lake Zurich Municipal Code with miscellaneous code amendments. A resolution of the Village of Lake Zurich, Lake County, Illinois, to induce the development of certain property within the industrial park TIF redevelopment project area, and a request by the Housing Opportunity Development Corporation to continue consideration of the annexation, zoning, and development concept plan at 22843 Lakewood Lane to the January 15th, 2024 Village Board meeting.
Okay, any board questions or discussion desired on any item, or would anybody like any item pulled for a separate vote?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss current litigation with business to follow.
For Any particular item on the consent agenda?
Yes, item G.
G. Okay. Okay, so, any other comments? Anybody else want anything pulled?
We could do the consent agenda and then go into closed session if you want to knock out the items that everybody's in agreement.
I'm good, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, any other comments? Nothing. Okay, then I would like a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, except for item G. And we will move into executive session for a brief executive session on, after we get this done. So, motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, please.
So moved.
Except item G.
So moved, except item G.
And a second?
Second, Riley.
Okay, and Clerk Johnson, would you please call the roll?
Clerk Cordell, I will call the roll.
What did I say?
Trustee
Clerk
Euchre.
Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Riley.
Aye.
Trustee Spicone.
Aye.
Trustee Chagru.
Aye.
Trustee Wyder.
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda except for item G passes. Now I need a
Now-
motion to move to executive session for the sole purpose of discussing item G.
Yes, I would like,
Current litigation.
I would like to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss current litigation in regards to item G with business to follow.
And I'll second that.
Okay, and Clerk Cordell?
Trustee Riley. Aye. Trustee Spicone.
Aye.
Trustee Chagru.
Aye.
Trustee Wyder. Aye. Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to take a brief recess to go into an executive session. We'll be back, okay? We're going out. Yeah.
Yeah, nice talking with you. And I'll give you a call, reach out sometime.
Yeah.
Talk about the January thing.
Yeah. Sounds good.
6A.
Well, we told some jokes
Huh?
at the podium.
Who we lose? Oh, they were in the can. Back? We missing anybody? No? Okay. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to reconvene to open session, and a second, please.
I'll second that.
Who makes the motion?
You can.
I'll make the motion then. I make the motion.
I
Mark
second.
seconds it. I'll, call the roll, please.
Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Riley. Aye. Spacone.
Aye.
Sugru.
Aye.
Wider.
Aye.
Okay, we're still working on the consent agenda, item 6G. I'm going to pass the mic over to Scott Euler, our village attorney, for a statement or explanation, and then we'll take the item under vote.
Thank you, Mayor. There were comments made in open session at the podium from the property owner regarding the reasoning behind this ordinance, or the purpose of this ordinance, as to the question of whether or not a connection to property outside the village of Lake Zurich is allowed for business purposes or other purposes for a private property owner. Our code was amended 2 years ago to expressly prohibit that sort of connection. We believe that was already the case, that it is not permissible. But to make it clear, the code was changed 2 years ago. This ordinance in front of the board this evening addresses other changes to the code, in addition to some definitions that we think should be clarified relative to that existing prohibition on access between a property in Lake Zurich, a private property, and property outside the village boundaries.
Okay, so just to be clear on this item, I'm going to read the summary because it wasn't fully read. It's item G. It's an ordinance amending various chapters, Title 9, 10, and 4 of the Lake Zurich Municipal Code with miscellaneous coded amendments, assigned ordinance number 2023-10-529. The summary says, the Village of Lake Zurich is seeking amendments to the municipal code in order to clarify specific definitions and the requirements for refuse storage, remove antiquated language for hearing notices and references to the former zoning board of appeals, and provide for a measurement to exterior lighting standards. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on September 20th, 2023, and voted 4-0 in favor of recommending approval of the proposed zoning code amendments. At this point, are there any additional comments from the board? No? Okay, then I would like to make a motion to approve item 6G on the consent agenda as presented.
Second, Wider.
Second, Wider, and Clerk Cordell, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Trustee Riley.
Aye.
Trustee Spacone.
Aye.
Trustee Sugru.
Aye.
Trustee Wider.
Aye.
Okay, item G passes. The consent agenda is now closed. We move on to item 7, new business. 7A, Trustee Sugru.
Yep, police pension municipal compliance report and tax levy request. In summary, the Illinois Pension Code requires the village to levy a tax each year to meet the actual requirements of the police pension fund. The Lake Zurich Police Pension Board is requesting a tax levy in the amount of $305,938 for the village board to consider. Last year, the police pension board requested a levy of $2,142,608, and the actual levy was the same amount. Police pension fund is now 58.3% funded, an increase of 0.6% of the actual value from last year's status of 57.7% funded.
Okay, sir.
My name is Andy Sieber. I'm the secretary with the Lake Zurich Police Pension Fund. I'm also a sergeant with the police department. Just wanted to start off by saying that Lake Zurich is a great community to work in and serve. The people of the community are wonderful, and they give back, and it's a great place to, earn a living and to work. Funding a pension fund has been challenging, and the men and women, both current and retired from the Lake Zurich Police Department, greatly appreciate your efforts and your partnership to make that happen. Working with Amy on the pension board has been, I respect her professionalism, and it has been a good relationship, which could easily not be. And we appreciate your continued effort to support the men and women of our police department. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Sergeant Seaver. Any comments from the board? No?
We just need a run-up in the market to help these returns so that this number can
Yeah,
grow.
no kidding.
Sure.
Yeah,
We all could benefit from that at this point, right?
yeah. You okay with that, Andy?
I second that, yes.
Okay. Okay, there's no board action requested at this point, so thank you, thank you. Next item B, trustee Riley.
7B, ordinance authorizing the issuance of $1,299,000 taxable general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2024 of the Village of Lake Zurich, Lake County, Illinois, for the purpose of refunding certain outstanding general obligation alternate bonds of said village and paying the expenses incident thereto, providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax for the payment of the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof. In summary, from 2009 to 2016, the village issued various general obligation TIF bonds, of which payment of these bonds is from various revenue sources, as well as annual issuance of taxable general obligation bonds. The proposed ordinance for Series 2024 general obligation bond is the village's 14th year of this procedure. The Series 2024 bonds will pay the interest and principal due during fiscal year 2024. The total size of the proposed bond issuance is in the past, Cornerstone Bank has agreed to purchase these bonds. These bonds are to be approved in the 2023 and will be included in 2023 property tax levy.
Okey-doke. Miss Amy?
Okay. I don't have anything new to add to that. This is just our annual request to issue this bond. Again, we won't close on this bond until mid-2024, just in time to make our debt service payments before the property tax comes in, and then we will pay off the maturity in the beginning of October to minimize any interest that we have to pay on it. So unless you guys have any other questions about the bond?
Anybody?
Just one. Any ballpark estimate as to what the interest rate is on it at this point?
It's 7.25%.
Okay. And that's still with our AAA bond rating at this point?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's just the increase.
That's just where they're at right now for interest rates.
It is, and we have bond counsel, so we do look into it and make sure we're getting a fair interest rate.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay.
With nothing else, I'm looking for a motion to approve ordinance 2023-10-530, authorizing the issuance of $1,299,000 taxable general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2024 of the Village of Lake Zurich of Lake County, Illinois, for the purpose of refunding certain outstanding general obligation alternative bonds of said village and paying the expenses incident thereto, providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax for the payment of the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof.
So moved.
That's Mary Beth, and a second, please.
Chagru.
Roger Chagru.
Trustee Spacone.
Aye.
Trustee Euchre.
Aye.
Trustee Chagru.
Aye.
Trustee Weider.
Aye.
Trustee Riley.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next item under new business, a discussion on Special Recreation Association property tax levy. Trustee Riley.
So the village currently levies a 2% SRA property tax for the purpose of providing programs and facilities for people with disabilities or special needs. The current levy is insufficient to create new opportunities for people with special needs. In fact, Lake Zurich's SRA fund is expected to close the 2023 budget year with a $75,000 deficit. During a recent village board meeting, trustees advocated for the facilities that would go beyond making ADA required accommodations in our parks. For example, staff has already received valuable information on next steps for creating sensory opportunities for people with autism. Additional funding is needed to activate these new opportunities. An SRA levy of up to 4% is permitted by law. This levy is outside of the Illinois property tax extension law limit to prevent providing services for people with disabilities from competing with the core municipal services. If the village were to increase this property tax levy to 4%, the typical Lake Zurich property owner would see an increase of approximately $27 annually. After the annual membership of the Special Recreation Association of Central Lake County is paid, the higher levy would result in approximately $220,000 available for local SRA investment versus the $60,000 available now each year.
Okay, thank you. This is a no action requested at this point, a discussion item only. Bonnie, you want to lead the discussion here, or are you just looking for input?
We're really looking for the board's input. I would like to direct the attention of the village board to my monthly report. It really summarizes how we've been using the fund over the course of the last 5 years. We've been as responsible as possible. I'd like to remind the board that we, as part of being part of the cooperative agency with 7 other organizations, we're being the 8th, we do present to the village board what we utilize the fund for annually and work very closely with the executive director. So anything that we utilize the fund for, we do present, and it does get passed annually by the SRA board of directors. So we're very, very intentional with how we use this fund, and we really do rely on the guidance of John Buckner, the executive director, when planning to utilize the fund. I know the memo did say we do have some plans. We have been discussing potential projects with our SRA partners. However, we do want to tap into our community. I know a couple of the trustees should reach out and get us great information and contacts with District 95. And then we do have our contacts with SRA CLC. So we are crafting a specific survey that we can use for long-term planning to see what our community really wants us to invest in. However, to do so, we need to make sure that we do have the proper funds to be able to do that. Right now, with $60,000, that doesn't go very far. So that's where we're at with the conversation. Right.
So what's going to come first, the survey or the plan?
Right now, it's the survey. We want the survey to come first.
Okay. Will the survey include availability of these kind of facilities in other communities and what they're doing?
It's more specific to Lake Zurich and what the
I know
Lake Zurich.
we talked about the Alpine Chapels playground, which is.
It's not utilized. It's a very quick survey, and it's
Yeah.
really focused on our our village parks, our village amenities, and where we can make some improvements, impactful improvements, whether that be for families with children who have special needs or our aging population in Lake Zurich.
Okay.
Right.
Anybody with comments on the board?
I just want to add to that, the information that Bonnie and her staff are gathering is through this process is also going to fold in. We've let the folks from Katuska know that if this is a topic that is in the community's bloodstream and would like to continue it, and then have whatever information comes forward rolled into that, because it might relate to some of our recommendations for future improvements, whether it be in the CIP or on our transportation network or pathways and so forth. Beyond the survey itself, we often do use a number of we do use the SRA funds to supplement projects to make sure that we have ADA accessible features, which are required, but the SRA funds do make that possible. At this point, we're not asking for direction other than we're in the process, Amy and her staff will be in the process of putting together the property tax levies for next year and making sure that you're comfortable with our incorporating this as a component of the levy for next year.
Okay, anybody?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for pushing this forward. I think it's well thought out and intentional, and I appreciate that. My big question is, how are we coming up with the $75,000 to plug the hole? And how did we have a hole?
If I may, I think
Yeah.
sometimes when staff gets together for budget meetings and we're doing fund reviews and we look at the year end, I think there were considerable funds that were expended in the parking lot and providing access at Paula's Park. I think there were also probably some cost overruns, as we're all familiar with, that items are more expensive than we would like them to be. So in reviewing the fund, we felt that there was an opportunity for us to kind of right-size the fund. The general fund will cover the $75,000 deficit in the meantime until the fund is replenished.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And no, I think it would be unsaid. I'm in favor of moving forward this way and going to the 4%. If we were to vote tonight, I would vote yes for it. Because I know we have a good team in place and we're thinking logically about how to do this, and I like the idea of a survey and moving forward. So thank you for bringing this forward.
Okay.
Just one more point. Bonnie and her staff, and I think Bonnie personally, reached out to a number of our neighboring communities to see where their rate is, and we are not out of line. Everybody, I think, has realized long ago that the cost of providing such services within your own community or in conjunction with SRA CLC far outweighs the opportunities that we receive through the tax levy at 2% where we're at today.
So we're not out of line at the 2%?
No, we're not out of line at the 4%.
Okay.
Yeah, we were below where everybody else is at. So I think Bonnie explained that there was a surplus in the fund for a number of years, and we have exhausted that surplus.
I guess I would be interested in, if we're not out of line at the 4%, what are the other communities getting for the 4%?
So I do have that. Actually, Kyle Cordell was instrumental in getting some of these numbers, but I'll give you a couple numbers. So Grays Lake is at 3.4%, moving to 4%. Lindenhurst Park District is at 4%. Round Lake Park District, which is one of our partners, is at 4%. Mundelein Park Districts, which is one of our partners, is at 4%. Gurney Park District is at 4%. Lake Forest Park District is at 4%, and Hawthorne Woods has been at 4% for quite some time. So when I did speak with Executive Director John Buckner, he was surprised we weren't already at the 4%.
Okay, I guess I would be interested, what are they getting, the difference between the 2 and the 4%? Not that I think, what was the number here? $27 annually?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Anybody else? Comments? Roger?
When is the survey planning on going out, Bonnie?
We have it in draft right now, so as soon as it gets uploaded to our system, our Survey Monkey, so we're hoping to push that out within the next couple weeks here.
Got it. And then how long are we keeping the survey open for?
Typically, we like to keep it open until we start to see it tailor off. Normally, after about a week, we start to see the responses tailor off, probably a good couple weeks.
Sounds good.
You'll pop it into benchmarks and...
Well, we'll definitely share it with the village board in a
Okay.
brief, so that we would encourage you to pass it off to your networks that you think would be able to provide us some great feedback as well.
Okay.
And what kind of questions, sorry, last one, what kind of questions are we looking at on the survey that we could take action with?
Right, so one of the specific questions is about our current facilities and amenities. Another specific question is tailored to the spray ground specifically, being an investment that the village is going to be undertaking possibly in the next year. We really want to get a better gauge on how that amenity can be more inclusive. So I know that's one of the specific questions as well.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys taking this forward. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yep, MB?
First of all, thanks to Mr. Dubner as well as Bonnie for helping. Like everybody has said, we do appreciate the work that you put in on this. I do think we should be mindful when we issue that survey to make mention that there is that facility at Alpine Chapel or Hope Co. So just to create more awareness, not to, put aside our obligations in that regard. And I do think that it might be helpful to maybe have people who have kids with special needs or work with children with special needs take a pre-look at that survey to see that it is worded in a way that prompts them to understand that this is something that's being considered. I think it needs to have great clarity. And you guys know the survey business far better than I do, I'm sure, but I'm just saying that we want to serve the community that will utilize these materials. So I want to know everything about those families. In other words, is it helpful to put those at Paulus Park, or is that too far a distance for disabled children to travel, to Kids Kingdom, and would it be better off to put them at one with more proximal parks to the transportation to your car or pathways to your car? I don't know the answers to these questions, but I do think those are things that need to be explored and communicated. And
I'd be
thanks.
remiss, Trustee Euchre, if I didn't say, actually, this survey, we leaned into our partners at SRACLC because they are
Awesome.
the experts. They
Perfect.
actually drafted the questions, and then we went through and refined them.
It's exactly where you should be
And
going.
you're striking, now I'm remembering one of the questions is specific about location,
Yep.
asking about location, our community parks versus our neighborhood parks. So
Right.
I want to assure you we have had eyes on it.
Thank you, and I appreciate that, Bonnie.
And further to Mary Beth, would this kind of stuff be even used in the first place? Or is it, what items would be used more than other items? So we only have X amount of dollars. So we want to make sure that the stuff that we would consider would actually be used.
Right.
So that would be my concern. Okay? Huh?
That was mine too.
Yeah. So, anybody else?
Yeah, just two quick things. Personally, if we never want to go have a deficit in any area, but if there was an area where we knew was going to be covered by general fund and it going into deficit, this is an area that's paying dividends to community. So appreciate that. I have had a number of residents that do have children that fit these needs reach out, and they do appreciate, Bonnie, the consideration that you and your team have done over the years on the improvements to the area. So just want to share that, as well as the fact that we're having this conversation and advocating on behalf of that for the community. So
Now, and this is advocating on behalf of the whole community, not just a particular segment, so just make that clear. Anybody else? Okay. That's the end of our new business tonight. We move on to trustee reports. Are there any trustee reports tonight? Nope. Okay. How about village staff reports? Are there any? I see Sarosh Sire has a report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to invite everyone to our community workshop on the comprehensive plan that's being planned for next Wednesday, the 25th of October at the Ela Area Public Library. This is where the community can provide its input on the various efforts that are being undertaken to obtain community input on the comprehensive plan. It's going to be an open house style between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening at the Ela Area Public Library. And for more information, anyone could go to lakezurichtogether.org. In addition to that, we will also be announcing and sending out further notices through our benchmarks and Facebook page.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. That concludes our business for tonight, and we will be adjourning to executive session number 2. This one was on the agenda. Call for the purpose of 5 ILCS 120/2C21, approval of executive session minutes, and 5 ILCS 120/2C2, collective bargaining. There will be no voting action or board business discussed after closed session, so the adjournment of closed session will be the final adjournment and end of the meeting. One last comment, though. It's kind of stuck in my craw after the public comment. Just to be clear to the community that the two controversial topics that were discussed at public comment have to do with property that's not even in Lake Zurich. It's property that's outside of Lake Zurich. So just to be clear, we're not trying to force anybody out. We're not trying to make anybody move. We're trying to do what is best for the village of Lake Zurich, not for the village of some other village. So other than that, can I have a motion, please, to adjourn tonight's regular meeting to executive session? And a
So-
second.
So moved.
MB made the motion, and
Second, Riley?
William Riley. Deputy Clerk Kyle
Trustee
Cordell.
Weider? Sugru?
Aye.
Riley?
Aye.
Euchre?
Aye.
Ms. Spacone?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned to executive session. Next meeting is November 6th. Thanks for watching. Happy Halloween, and stay safe and healthy.